Can you teach an old dog new tricks? I think you can. South Alabama's head baseball coach, Mark Calvi, talks about it next on Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. We continue to preview the 2026 Sunbelt baseball season with my buddy Mark Calvi from the South Alabama Jaguars. Been a couple of rough years for the Jags. How does he get them back to compete in the Sunbelt and get them to the NCAA tournament? He does discuss that and a little bit specifically. Talk to him about recruiting, talk to him about the transfer portal, and how much longer does he want to do it? He's been at it for a while. He's been at it at South Alabama for a while. We discussed that and how your priorities change the older that you do get. He is the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars. He's Mark Calvi, and he is Locked On Sunbelt. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. We continue our preview of the upcoming 2026 college baseball season with the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars. He is Mark Calvi. Mark, thanks for hopping on. Happy New Year. How do we get the South Alabama Jaguars back to the top of the Sunbelt where you are so used to being, but it's been a couple rough years?
It has. 2 out of the last 3 have not been typical for us. Some underperformance, some injuries,
Yep.
The changing dynamics of college baseball with finances and things of that nature. I think, but fortunately, I have an administration that has stepped up recently, understands the changing dynamics, understand that it's a different game, and now, leaving the percentages and just going to head count and 34 and going to cash. Like I said, the landscape of college baseball has changed. And if you were giving out what you had, you're way behind. If you're not, if you're not improving that bottom line in terms of finances to put a team together, you're probably going to be left behind. I'm appreciative that I have an athletic director and administration that understands and have stepped up recently, which I'm happy about. So I think, but that's moving forward. What we need to do to get back to where we belong is, number one, stay healthy. And that's, it's not like we do crazy things out here where guys get hurt. It's just, we've had some elbows, some of this, some of that. And then there's been some areas that we just flat out haven't been good enough in. So it's continue to recruit and hit the road hard and keep guys healthy. And I think now with my budget that has been expanded and moving forward, we'll be able to do in today's landscape. If you're not in the portal, odds are you're being left behind. We haven't really been able to get into the portal and do some damage with some money. But like I said, my administration has really helped out and understands the importance of baseball here and understands the importance of baseball in the Sun Belt and how competitive this league is. And if you're not opening up the checkbook or the pocketbook, you're going to be left behind. So luckily, I have some some administrators that understand that and want us back where we belong. So it's not just a money thing. It's getting the right guys, and not that we haven't. It's getting enough of the right guys, and then obviously those guys that you don't want anyone getting hurt, but it's those guys staying healthy. I'm big on pitching and defense, and I like some of the pieces that we brought in on the mound and defensively, and we lost, and I know we'll talk about it. We lost some key pieces offensively. So we have a bunch of new guys out there. So we'll see how that goes. It may take a little bit to settle in, or maybe we come out like gangbuster. I really don't know. I really don't know with so many new guys offensively, but pitching and defense travels, and we'll have to be really good at that and then stay healthy.
All right, so not to go all baseball bad pun on you, but do you have a ballpark figure that what the other Sun Belt teams are doing? It's one thing to try and compete with the SEC, and that's not feasible at the G5 level. So do you have an idea what the other Sun Belt schools are doing, and are you in that ballpark now?
I don't know what everyone is because it's so fluid, and that's
it really is.
COVID. I'm so sick of that freaking word fluid, but it is accurate in this instance. It is fluid. So I think, budgets change. Some schools that I talked with this summer, I'm sure it changed a little bit. We were a ways away. Let's put it that way, and we're much closer now.
Okay,
we're much
All
closer now. Like I said, when our administration stepped up, it got us much more competitive in terms of finances and what you can, in that pot. You have three really pots of money. You have the scholarship, you have rev share, and then you have NIL. And NIL is something that I will raise. We have some loyal donors, and it's something that
Cart doctor.
What's that?
The cart doctor.
The cart doctor. She's one of them. She's awesome. Trisha's awesome.
There we go.
Yes. So it's just it's generating that, but really, our scholarships took a pretty sizable jump. Our rev share took a pretty sizable jump. And like I said, our administration really stepped up, and I appreciate that. So I think I know we are way more competitive now, with the finances and being able to bring in players, because now, if you're going after JUCO guys early, it used to be 60-65%. That's a great offer. I mean, shoot, we had, conference first team all conference players in here on 33% JUCO guys, and those days have changed, David. It's now you better be all in and put some cash in their pocket, or you're not getting them.
Right.
You're waiting. You're not getting that 45% guy early, just because other teams have advanced their budgets, and it's just the way of the world. So we were actually able to get a couple of guys that I don't know if I've ever given out a full ride here, and I think I've offered more close to full rides in this fall than I have since I've been here in 15 years. So to me, it's evolve or die. And, even at my point in my career, I'm 50, this is year 33, I'm 57 and a half. I'm not the young guy anymore. I'm not the old guy, but I'm not the young guy, certainly. It's an old dog having to learn new tricks, to be honest with you. And either you got to play by the rules or you get played by the rules. And I've got to play by the rules. And if I want to stay in this, and which I do, and again, luckily I have an AD that understands that.
It does feel like as I've seen you here over the last few years, it feels like we can contribute the gray and the beard to the portal and NIL directly.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. The last 3 years, that's the gray and the beard. I almost shaved it off today because I knew you were going to bring it up. I almost shaved. I said, David's going to be on the beard, man. And, but you know what, man, there's some battle scars in there. And I think there's some maturity in the gray. And I've learned, and there's a lot of sleepless nights in my face. But I think, in moving forward, I think we have more of a chance to be able to move back up to where we belong. And now it's at least a 4-team league, 3 to 4 team league. So to get up into that top 4, it's challenging, no doubt. But the finances do help us. If we didn't get an increase in finances, it was, you just gotta, to me, and it sucks to have to say this, but you'd kind of have to reset the bar and you'd have to set it lower. Like what is a good season now? For us, a good season was getting into the postseason.
Sure.
When you don't have the money, it's okay. What you got to recalibrate what a good season is.
Right.
And I don't want to have to do that. So to me, a good season is getting back into the postseason. And that's what we have our sights on.
Just to make sure people realize the battle scars don't come from NIL and portal. That's Mark's refusal to sit in the dugout when during the baseball game, so he gets hit with foul balls.
That is part of it, David. That is part of it, buddy. Yes.
Let's take a time out. We'll continue our conversation with the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Mark Calvi. After this, we do talk to him about getting the first out of the inning, which he is big on, and the defense for the Jaguars, which slipped a little bit, but he's expecting better things in 2026. We'll do that right after this message from Mazda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. The WNBA has released its 2026 schedule featuring a 44-game regular season beginning on Friday, May 8th. The league's historic 30th season includes expansion teams Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, with opening weekend highlights such as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever hosting Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings, and a rematch of the 2025 finals between the Aces and the Mercury. In college hoops, South Carolina handed Vanderbilt its first loss of the season with a dominant 103-74 win. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
All right, welcome back to Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Continuing our conversation with the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Mark Calvi, talks about getting out number one and how the defense slipped for South Alabama in 2025, but hoping it's going to be better in 26. We're talking with Mark Calvi, the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars. One of the things that I liked about you, I always learn something from all of these new coaches, and usually the most important pitch is strike one, right? But you were always big on out number one, getting the leadoff batter out. You would say that all the time. We did a great job of getting that leadoff guy on. So when they got a couple of guys on with 1 or 2 outs, we were able to get out of the inning. Was that an issue last year? And how good are we looking at doing that this season?
It was one of a few issues. It right. was. And when you look at our numbers, I thought our pitching overachieved. Typically, we've 1 or 2 in the Sun Belt. We've led the Sun Belt the last 10 years in defense, and that took a hit. We had a couple injuries, and we had some guys that were out of position, and they just did not perform as well as we needed them to play defensively. That hurt us. So we had an average overachieving pitching staff that needed a defense to make every routine play, and we did not do that. I think we fielded 964 last year. Typically, we're anywhere from 975 to 980 prior to this 3-year stretch.
So what's the difference of that errors-wise? What's the difference of that? How many errors is that difference, generally speaking?
Boy. You're looking – I'd say you're probably looking at another 15, 17 errors.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's a half a dozen or a dozen wins.
Oh, no question. No question. And then, I've had a guy or two that fielded, 920 at shortstop, and you're like, okay, that's not great. But the errors that he made never hurt us. You know what I mean? He always made the plays when they counted, and his errors never hurt us. We had some errors last year. You talk about untimely. They hurt us bad. And then offensively, it wasn't like we were inept. It wasn't like we hit 240 as a team. We hit, 270-ish, and we lacked a little bit of thump. We lacked some guys that would challenge the wall. And it's when you get your hits. Like I said, it's when you make your error, and it's when you get your hits. You can, in 2021, we hit 247 as a team, and we were a single away from a super regional. Right now, we really, we had a 3.4 ERA and a 981 fielding percentage. So that complements the 247 batting average, and
a pretty good left fielder.
And a pretty damn good left fielder, and a pretty damn good center fielder, and shortstop, right? So it's when you make your mistakes, and it's just we've made some mistakes in the most inopportune times, the worst times where you got bases loaded, 1 out, inning double play, and we bobbled it. We only got 1 out, and the next guy hits a double, and it's like we would have got out of here with nothing. Instead, we gave up 3. So hopefully we put an end to that this year. Errors are going to happen. I get it. This is college baseball. Sure. It's when they happen. Like I said, injuries are going to happen. You hate it for anyone. It's just, okay, man, you can't have the wrong guys injured, and you can't make the wrong plays at the wrong time. And then it's, getting the hits at the right time. We did some of that early. We didn't do a whole lot of it in the second half. It's just getting that hit when you need it, man, when you need, and then, back to your point, in college baseball, the leadoff walk in college baseball scores 70 to 75% of the time on a leadoff walk. A hit by pitch, no, it's in the 50s. There's something to the hit by pitch where it's almost like it sends a message, and guys are like, okay, this guy's going to pitch inside. So that scores 50% of the time. The leadoff single scores less than that because that's one of your hits. And if you have a good guy out there, it's hard to get 2, 3, 4 hits in an inning to score a run. It really is, especially with good stuff out there. So the leadoff walk, you haven't used up your hit yet, and if they're if that's their inning to get 2 or 3 hits, you're probably going to give up a crooked number.
Right.
And, you know, when you're facing Coastal or Southern Miss or Troy, like you can't afford to give up too many crooked numbers because they have the offense to answer back. So,
Right.
yeah, that leadoff out. And then conversely, getting that leadoff guy on offensively is in your favor. It's just a higher percentage of scoring a run. You'd rather get that leadoff single than the 2-out single. You know,
Right.
2-out singles are fantastic, but it happens when you get guys on before that, and then you can break somebody's back with 2 outs. It's a backbreaker, and it takes some confidence away with 2 outs. But yeah, getting that it's that one-on-one matchup. Like, hey, I'm trying to get on, you're trying to get me out. Who wins? And the guy that the defense, you get your leadoff out, you know, 65, 70% of the time. If you do other things right, you're going to have success.
See, this old dog knows numbers. The numbers and analytics are all new, but you've been way ahead of that for a long time. So don't tell me this old dog can't learn new tricks. You've been way out in front of that for a long time. But I'll give you the opportunity, right? I've seen this before. It's down the road. Like you said, it's timing. So if you turn that lineup over when the 7-hole hitter or the 8-hole hitter gets that 2-out base hit, and then all of a sudden we're leading off the next inning, it wasn't because we had a good inning when we scored, it was because we turned the inning over. So some of that can be timeliness as well. When the 5-hole hitter gets a 2-out base hit and, we're getting 7, 8, 9 coming up, that may not be the timingness that you need.
No question, David. Again, yeah, it's about rhythm and flow offensively, and momentum is a real thing, and it's about passing it back and getting that lineup. It's about if any teams that have productive 7, 8, and 9, as long as they don't have their weaker guys at the top. But you start getting production from the bottom where they turn it over and you like your top, that's how your scoring runs.
Talking to Mark Calvi, head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. All right, how close are we to setting a rotation for the weekend? We got about, somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks left before we hit the field.
Yeah, pretty close. I'd say, Mitchell Heer, a returner, 7-2 last year, 3.4, 3.5 ERA right around there, was outstanding. He, experience and things of that nature. He's been around the block. He is, probably get the nod for Friday. And then there's some other, I like our pitching staff is better. Our rotation is better. Not that it was bad last year, but our rotation is better. It's a matter of, for me, and I'll get to the rotation. It's a matter of, and we've got some arm talent at the end. It's a matter of who goes up and grabs it, who can do it. No one's done it yet. There's some guys down there that can do it, that profile as short relievers with that power pitch, good fastball. Don't know who it is yet, but there's 3 or 4 candidates, which is good. It's better than having 1 or no candidates down there.
Sure.
So we just have some unproven guys with arm talent. From a rotation standpoint, obviously you got Mitch Heer, Jackson Scheinflu, who has been outstanding for us for 2 years. His numbers are way better out of the pen. He's a junior. He's more experienced. He's bigger, stronger, heavier. Got some fantastic metrics to his fastball, metrics that ding front offices for sure. He's definitely a draft guy this year, but his numbers really shine out of the bullpen. Now, this is his draft year, and he understands the importance. He wants to start, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
Max Miller has been outstanding, left-handed pitcher from Pearl River. It's 89 to 93, and it's 4 pitches for strikes. Curveball, slider, changeup. He's been outstanding. Daniel Gonzalez, the transfer from ULM, he was their Friday night guy. He's going to fight for a spot in there. Rylan Bosenhard, who started transfer in the portal, transfer guy from Florida Gulf Coast, had a great year for Florida Gulf Coast last year. He was their Saturday, Sunday guy, pitched against some very good teams. And then we have Zach Stevens back. Zach Stevens last year, if you watch that Kent State game, he goes, it's a cold night and he's rolling out there at, 92 to 96 and just cut through a very good team. Dunk, their head coach, was like, Calvi, man, this guy's your number 2. Like, what in the world? I'm like, I don't know. Him and Shine flew kind of a 1-2 punch, and we had Mitch in the bullpen and a couple other guys, Mitch Heer in the bullpen. And then Stevens had a couple injuries. He had a minor surgery, and they cleaned out his shoulder. And we really got 10 healthy innings out of him last year. So he was a Friday, Saturday, 1 or 2 type rotation guy. It's 92 to 95, touching 96, and a upper 80s slider / cutter or curveball, and we got 10 healthy innings from him. It hurt us, 3, 4, 5 extra wins on there, and
sure.
Mitch missed 3 weeks with a high ankle sprain, maybe another 2 wins. So who knows? we were still 23 and whatever. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Everybody deals with injuries. But again, and you don't want it to happen to anybody, but when it happens to a Friday, Saturday type guy, that hurts you. Right. That hurts you. So Zach missed the fall, and he's throwing, he's back 92, 94. He feels fine. He's out there and he's kind of in the gen pop now. His work cycle is consistent. He feels really good. He's recovering. He's strong. He's old. He's older. He's a junior. And he's extremely talented. He really is. That was one of the guys that losing him last year really hurt us. So he's back. So I really, it has a chance to be a deep rotation. There's 6 or 7 guys, and I think I mentioned, maybe 5 or 6, but there's 6 or 7 guys that we have as starters / long relievers. We have a couple young guys that I really like, which I think we need to, and I said from a recruiting standpoint, we need for us to get through a regional. We've stalled out in regionals. We've been very competitive, but we haven't made it to the next step, which is a super. And I think what will help us is we have some guys, especially pitchers. We've had hitters grow up in the program, as you know, the Ethan Wilsons, the Donovans, the Swaggertys, the Pattersons, I could go on. But we haven't had many young guys come in and grow up in the program as pitchers. And I think for us to take the next step, we need some kids that are in here as freshmen. They take their lumps. They're freshmen all-American, whatever. It doesn't matter. But they're in here. They understand. They understand what it takes to win at this level. And when they're sophomores and juniors, they're all but bulletproof. They're just been there, done that. I'm not fazed by Alex Box Stadium. I'm not fazed by Ole Miss. I'm not fazed by anyone. I'm not fazed by anyone in the league. And so that's what we need. So we have 2 or 3 younger guys that I think we'll see some time this year on the mound.
Let's take one more time out. We'll come back and wrap up our conversation with the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Mark Calvi. He talks about recruiting, development, the NCAA, how much longer he plans on doing this for, and how his priorities have changed over the years. We'll do that right after I tell you about Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month, it's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow savings. I was shocked when Rocket Money showed me I was paying for subscriptions that I completely forgot about, and it's already saved me money. I love how it tracks all my subscriptions and let me cancel them right in the app with just a few taps. No more hunting down customer service numbers. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. And the Everydayer Club. Thank you for making Locked On Sunbelt your first listen of the day. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live Sunbelt sports every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Sunbelt with no interruptions and more for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockdownsunbelt.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. That's the Everydayer Club. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your teams every day. Wrapping up our conversation with the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Mark Calvi. He talks about recruiting, development, the NCAA, and how much longer he's going to do this, and how priorities have been adjusted over the last few years. We appreciate his time. He is the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars baseball team. He is Mark Calvi, and he is Locked On Sunbelt. Talking to Mark Calvi, head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. So how do you go about recruiting? You are in a talent-rich region right there, I-10. You don't have to travel too far off of I-10 whatsoever. Yeah. Mobile has a ton of baseball talent right in that region. How do you go about recruiting for South Alabama?
It does. Well, first and foremost, it's kind of an oxymoron going from what I just said to what I'm going to say now. We've had 10, 11, 12 freshmen in recruiting classes, and now I'm at 4 to 5 done. It's just the league. It's too old. College baseball is too old, Dave.
Right.
To throw a 19-year-old out there against 23 and 24-year-olds, you're going to get your ass kicked if you have too many of them out there. So, but you still got to bring in those guys, the right guys. And I love our younger class coming in. I think we have 6 freshmen signed to come in, 3 pitchers, 3 position players. Love all 6 of them. I think they can all be impact players. It's hard to say what percentage will actually be out there playing a lot as freshmen and pitching a lot as freshmen, but I would have to say 50% of them will see some time as freshmen, maybe more. So moving forward, we have a really good base. So it changes in that you're not going to see the large freshman classes anymore. And it can be tempting because a lot of people feel the same way. And there's some players that we have access to that maybe would have committed with a Power 4, but the Power 4 is holding off for the portal because they'd rather get my player than a high school player. They'd rather come steal my player, or they'd rather steal Lafayette's or, Coastal's lost. They'd rather steal some of those guys than go ahead and get a JUCO guy or go ahead and bring in the high school guy. They're bringing in those top 50 draft guys. That's what they're doing. And now with the 20 round draft, a lot of them are showing up on campus. So they don't need the thing that changes for us is we'd always have some developmental guys in there that panned out. Some did, some didn't. But we've had some guys really pan out where you're like, okay, we got the 6'3" skinny. He's 155 pounds. In a year or two, this kid's going to be really good. Those days are gone. Those days are gone. With the roster limitations and the portal, those days are gone. Those guys are now going to JUCO and D2. So a lot of things change. JUCO freshmen will now be in play for us as long as they're qualifiers. Whereas before, I would leave JUCO freshmen alone. There's enough out there between high school, sophomore JUCOs, even before the portal. But now with the portal and with us losing players, how do you get an older player? Well, you go ahead and get a JUCO guy after their freshman year. Has he played D1 yet? No. Has he played college baseball? Yes. Is he more ready than the high school freshman? Yes, he is more ready. So smaller freshman class for us. We will now start recruiting freshmen in our area. We'll let their coach know. We're not just going to go behind their back, right? We're going to do things right. But we're going to be on the best freshmen that are interested in leaving. And there is more of that. It used to be, no, I'm going 2 years. And now there's more, hey, I'm going to do 1 and then move on. Because this kid was probably a D1 recruit out of high school and rosters are smaller. So he's ended up at a junior college. And he's got a 3.5 GPA and a 24. It's not like he was the bad grades guy that had to go to JUCO. You have a lot of kids that are academic guys that there just weren't spots in D1. They go, prove themselves for a year. We're in on that. Obviously, JUCO guys as well, sophomores, JUCO freshmen, and then the portal, which, like I said, my administration has stepped up. So I think we can defend ourselves much better in the portal, where our offer will be much more enticing moving forward than it was in the past, than it was this summer. I can tell you that much.
Now I'm going to make your head really explode with all these NCAA eligibility issues, right? Okay. We're getting these guys who signed pro contracts coming back and playing college basketball. That's going to happen, Mark, when these guys are playing minor league baseball. They don't get called up to the big leagues, and all of a sudden these 23-year-old men are now freshmen playing college because they went straight to pro ball. That's coming unless the NCAA pulls down a hammer. And all of a sudden, if you don't think an LSU is going to sign a 270 hitter or a guy with a 3.5 ERA that's going to come in and dominate, that's going to is that going to happen? I hope it doesn't, but I can see what is moving forward because they didn't play in the big leagues. They're going to have eligibility left in college.
Don't bet against it, Dave.
Yeah.
Don't bet against it. I don't think I'll see it. But don't bet against it, man. No. It's the NCAA, whatever they're tired of dealing with, they dump on our laps in terms of baseball. Right. The brown bag of cash is now called NIL.
Right.
It is. You hear Ed Orgeron, he's like, we used to be around back in the alley, and now I come through the front door.
That's right.
There's no truer words have been spoken.
That's right.
It's just like marijuana. They used to test for it all the time. That was scary. Like, hey, guys, I used to be like, you cannot smoke weed. You cannot. It's dangerous. Right. You guys that smoke weed, I'm not just you. It's number one, it's illegal. Now it's legal in certain states. Right. But I'm like, it's illegal in Alabama. And if they test for it, you lose a year, da-da-da-da-da. Well, the NCAA is like, okay, what's our cash cow? Football, basketball. Well, if we find too many guys positive, There's going to be guys like Mark Calvi and Dave Schultz running around the basketball court, and people don't want to pay money to see you and I play basketball on a Saturday. They don't.
Right. No.
So the NCAA just goes, we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to mess with our money, our cash flow. So let's just, you know what? We're not even going to test for it anymore. So whatever they're sick and tired of dealing with, they dump on our laps. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yep. And I would say this 10 years ago. I don't care who hears it. It's whatever they're tired of. They give it a name. They give the booster with a brown bag of cash a name, and it's called NIL. Right. And so we think it looks cool and it's pretty and it's got a name, and it sucks.
All right. So we talk about the pitching. What offensive guys have stepped up so far as practice has been going on for a couple of weeks?
Well, we have some transfers. Blake Guerin, who was at Iowa, first baseman. And I think he was big, 6'6", 280.
Corn-fed.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Power. We actually played against them 2 years ago when Iowa came here. He really liked it here. And he didn't play every day, but enough of a sample size where I think he was top 25, top 30 in the country in exit velo. So when he put that ball in play, his exit velos he's a big, strong guy with power and an outstanding first baseman. Mark Stevens, who's a transfer, local kid, went to Mississippi Gulf Coast Junior College, committed to Campbell, and then Justin took him to Ohio State with him, wanted to come back home. We got him, very good player, shortstop, second baseman. He'll factor in somewhere 1 through 5. Stewart Puckett, transfer from University of South Florida, third baseman. We really upgrade defensively there. That was a tough spot for us defensively last year, third base. Puckett is a very solid defender, very solid hitter, tough as nails. Glad we have him. Really good arm, can make plays on the run, left, right. He moves, left, right, forward, back. Does a really good job. Understands where he's at in space. Throws off his right foot well. Throws on the run well. Let me see. Piccarelli from Missouri had decent numbers at Missouri with a small sample size. Hit over 300 at Missouri. We picked him up late. And these are just some of the new guys.
Sure.
Behind the plate, Duncan Matthews is back, top 25 and on base percentage. Hit 320, 330. Rhett Johnson is back, another 300 hitter, outstanding player for us. Ty Brooks is back at shortstop, made 8 errors at short last year, outstanding. And his last month of the season hit 313 with 4 home runs. So really started to figure some things out. Mike Young is back. Mike was the catcher, utility guy for us. That played against lefties because he smashes left-handed pitching, went off to the Coastal Plains League and got 200 and something at bats and was player of the year, hit 380. So he's, left field catcher, can play center field for us. Ethan Melton is back, probably the best center field. There might be some guys that tie him, but no one will be better than him defensively. He's got a right fielder's arm with center fielder instincts and actions. He's had a hip injury that last year that kind of derailed him. The last year and a half derailed him. Feeling really good right now. So I think we brought in some good pieces. It's just we lost some good pieces too. I lost my 1, 2, 3, and 4 hole hitters. 1, 2, and 3 to the portal, 4 hole to graduation. So we've got to fill those. We've got to fill those slots. And then we brought in Brennan Wright from Meridian, player of the year in Mississippi. Hit right at 400 and led the MAC Jack in extra base hits. Needs some work defensively, but very dangerous with the bat. He's a pest with the bat. And I think we've got some good young guys, that are in the program as well. Charlie Cassingham, Cole Dean, guys that will see some time. So Fuller Musgrove, catcher, third baseman, brother will probably pitch in the big leagues. He's on the 40-man with the Padres this year. There's just a lot of new faces, and offense is unpredictable. So when you have a lot of new guys, I wouldn't even dare go out there and predict what we will be offensively, because I would hate for the floor to be too low and the ceiling to be too low. I just know we've got some returners. It's not like we're all brand new. If the portal didn't hurt us, I'd be like, no, this is a older veteran lineup that we've got some thump, we got some speed. Like it's more predictable. We lost 4 300 hitters, so that hurt us. But I like the way the guys have gelled. Now we haven't played a game yet, just an inter squad. There's some talent there. Do we have the thump of a Troy or no right now? But then again, maybe we do. I don't know. There's just so many question marks offensively, Dave. I'm going to be moving some guys around. There'll be some young guys that will get in there and play. Not too many, because if you're younger than the other team, you're probably going to get beat. But these guys are good. They're solid. We had some freshmen that hit 300 to 350 this fall and that deserve a chance to play. So offensively, I don't know. Defensively, we've upgraded for sure. Pitching wise, we're better. So that's my call on the team right now. And it's just a matter of how they gel and man, can the right guys stay healthy, especially offensively? It's been on the mound and offensively. Can they, because it was not typical of us to be as bad defensively as we were last year. So we had to shore that up and quick. And I think we did. We'll see. We're about to find out in a couple of weeks. And our pitching, again, our pitching is better than it was last year.
All right, let's wrap things up with Mark Calvi, head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars. A few things that I picked up. First of all, everyone can hear your passion. You are very passionate. Can also hear a little frustration. But you did mention your maturity, your age. So you've been doing it for a while, but you want to keep on doing it. How much longer do you think you are doing it? I would suggest you never take my suggestion to go decaf, because you really take bad losses bad. They ruin your whole weekend, even though you got another ball game the next night. So, you don't take my suggestion on that. We could try the decaf. So how much longer do you think you're going to be doing it? Because everyone can hear your passion, and yet everyone's going through the frustrations because it's something different every day.
It is. I don't know, Dave. I don't know. I've always said I have certain boxes that if I can't check, I know I'm done. That's me. No matter where I'm at in my career, whether I'm, I turned 57 in November, and again, I'm closer to the end than I am the beginning for sure. We all have a shelf life, but there's certain things I think I'm still relatable. I can relate to the guys, right? And if you can't be relatable to this generation, you're done. You might not know it, but you're done. So I can still relate. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter at anything. Guys that are on money, or I'm glad for them. I think I want to help guys as much as I can. I enjoy, as coaches, we deal with the same age group, but we get older every single year.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
So you got to stay current and relatable. Right. And I think for the most part, I've done that, and I enjoy doing that, man. I enjoy spending time with the age group. I don't separate myself from the guy. I'm a player's coach. And again, I can check a lot of the boxes that if I couldn't, I would know that I'm done. So as of right now, man, I don't know when the end will be. I just know I can check the boxes, and we got to get back to winning, or I'll be in early retirement. That's the bottom line. It's a what have you done for me lately type business. It's a win or go home business, and I would love, obviously we all want to go out a winner, and that's my plan. So, and you want to leave it, anything better off than how you found it. And, we'll see, Dave. I can still check a lot of boxes that I need to check for my own criteria. I've got a 31-year-old daughter, and my wife and daughter have been super supportive of me in my career. And there's a time where I've got, and not that I haven't been supportive of them, but it kind of, this is so demanding, like their lives revolve around me. Sure. And there's a time where I want my life to revolve around them. Not that it doesn't, but as well as I do, man, nothing stays the same. And as we get older, your perspective on things changes. And I'd like to think my perspective has gotten better on certain things. Hold on, I wasn't done yet. And I think it's gotten worse on certain things. As long as my perspective, like of the players and what I need to do to coach them and help them, the day that I feel like I'm antiquated and my message falls on deaf ears, I'm done. I'm going to walk. Sure. I've put myself in position. I have no problem saying this. I could walk today if I want to. I don't want to. We've been responsible. My wife and I, we've saved. I'm in position. I'm lucky. I've been fortunate, man. With no trust funds, no nothing. We've saved. We've worked hard. So it's kind of, it's on my terms now, which is great. A lot of people have to work. I don't. I come here because I love this. I love the players. I love my coaches. I love the coaches in this league. I still love recruiting. These are all things that if I start skipping or cutting corners, I know I'm done. This is how I know I wake up every day and I know I'm not done yet. So I will be done one day. I don't know when that day is. But again, it's going to come sooner than later, but I just want to go out a winner. I want to get it right where we're back. We're back in the conversations. And then I'll support whoever the next guy is in 2, 3, 5, 8 years, whatever it is. I'll be all in. I'll join the dugout club. I'll help him with NIL. I'll help him, I help his ass any way I can, but I'll come out here and hit ground balls for the next guy, whoever's, takes over after me. But this program means everything to me, and I'm super loyal to this place, and just have a whole lot of affection for, former players, even guys I didn't coach, alumni. And so it means a lot to me. So we'll see. As long as I can check the boxes, man, I'll keep showing up as long as they'll let me.
See, you can hear that passion in that answer. That was outstanding. I will tell you, Chris Finwood at ODU, he's becoming a grandfather, I presume for the first time, because he mentioned it somewhere around opening day. So he may miss opening weekend because he's going to go see the grandchild. And he's like, well, they may be better off without me. So I'll get out of the way and the assistants can take over because he's got his priorities right.
He's got his priorities right. I don't blame him. So I know you got to go. My daughter's getting married next November 7th. We typically go to the middle of November. We will start fall practice a week early because I'm going to be right. The old me would have been like, no, I'll be there for the wedding on Sunday, and Friday, Saturday, I'll be at the field and miss a lot of stuff. Right. No, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll be there for the whole thing. And it's priorities, perspective, and it changes as we get older.
Well, depending how big that wedding is, you may have to work a couple more years.
Oh, man, you got that right. You got that right. Thank God I only have one, though. I only have one child. She's a daughter, and we can pour a little bit more into this one than if we had to.
There you go. Congratulations, Mark. Give her my best. Mark Calvi, he's the head coach of the South Alabama Jaguars, always there when we need him. Really appreciate your time hopping on Locked On Sunbelt. Best of luck this season, and we'll be sure to catch up sometime during the year. Thank you so much, Coach.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.